All right, well, let me load up my stories here for us recording our actual podcast.
Load up your stories. It sounds like a grandma putting in the VCR.
I want to load up my stories.
Yeah, a tape of what she's recorded her soaps on.
Yeah.
We all have one of those stories too, don't we? Where like an older person in your life doesn't understand technology, so they're still using the old version of technology.
Well, you both have me, so.
Well, there's that. No, because for me it was my sister got my dad the entire MASH collection on DVD.
Yeah.
And he would still persist to watch
Calm down now.
at 7:00 every night on like
Really?
the Hallmark Channel or something like that. I'm like, you can just
Watch it anytime you want.
yeah, you can just watch MASH anytime.
But then you have to get up and put a disc in the machine.
Yeah, and that was the
And then
thing.
You
Is
gotta find the right remote. They got to make sure the TV's on the correct input.
Yep.
There's a lot of steps. I get it.
And they didn't want any of that work
Yeah.
whatsoever.
A lot of work.
What am I doing over here?
Just like me trying to read comics, man. There's a lot of work involved with reading.
That's fair. At least there's more pictures than words when it comes to
Yes.
comic books.
Yes. Then I also get distracted by the amazing artwork.
There is
I just
that.
want to stare at the artwork. I'm like, I don't care what these words on these pages say, what they mean.
This is beautiful.
But man, that Wolverine is ripped.
That's what he likes. Comic abs.
Yeah.
That digital 6-pack.
All right, let's get the show underway. Welcome to this week's Nerd Radio on the podcast page at WRAF.com or wherever you're getting your podcast as part of the B-Pod Studios network. My name is Chuck Bean, joined, as always, by James and Al Beck.
Hello.
Oh, hey.
Welcome to another week in Nerd Radio, guys. We are about, as we record this, we are about a week out from UmaCon, which is one of my two big conventions that I love going to. I'm looking forward to going out there, seeing all the people in cosplay. This is the first year I don't think I have a cosplay.
No?
No, I just haven't I haven't put anything together. I haven't had the money or the time or even like the inspiration.
Now, would you just reuse one that you've already got? I mean, you've always got.
I could.
You know.
I just don't
Because there's been a few that you've reused. You could always go as J. Jonah Jameson. That was always
That's
fun.
fair. Yeah, I'd have to grow the mustache out again.
Well, that's true.
That's the hard part about.
You could do that in a week.
That's the hard part about the Jonah is when you trim it. If you trim it too short, you're Hitler.
Careful.
If you trim it too long, then you're Hulk Hogan. But if you
It's all bad.
right. So like it's by degrees, by very small degrees.
Now, when you have a mustache, how does your lady at home feel about it? Is
She loves it.
Really, the mustache?
Oh, well, just the facial growth in general. She says she likes the tickles.
Oh, ooh, we know what
I didn't say down there.
All right. Wow.
Hey, baby,
I'm not talking. No,
tickle,
just
tickle.
the little, just when you kiss her on the cheek.
I'm sure this decision won't haunt you forever.
Probably not. Probably not. I'm gonna have to go home tonight, honey.
I got some splaining to do.
Yeah.
I talked about the tickles on the Nerd Radio show.
Whoops.
People
The
may
internet knows
know
about it.
a bit more about our sex life than you want them to, and I have to apologize.
Oh my God.
Right. Hey, Jay Moore on the Twitch stream saying he's been listening to Mark Cooper, who we had on last week.
Oh, cool.
On Spotify. Says, yeah, I mean, he's going to be performing at UmaCon. We just talked to him last week, and that's going to be that's definitely on my itinerary to check out at UmaCon.
Goes by what? Player One.
Player One, yep, Player One. Mark Cooper. If you want to check him out on streaming, whether you're on wherever you are, wherever you can listen to us on streaming, you can more than likely find Mark Cooper.
Is UmaCon one of the ones that has like a focus? Is that the one that's got a lot of anime stuff?
More anime based. They've got a
Okay.
huge game room.
Okay.
Just a massive game. One of the ballrooms in like the Kobo Center they set up last year, and I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do this year because they do a bunch of tournaments like Super Smash Brothers and Overwatch and all that
That's what I was
stuff.
going to ask. Is it video game rooms?
Video
or like
game.
board games, Dungeons and
Well,
Dragons?
that's the thing. They have
like
the video game
Magic the
room,
Gathering?
which has a bunch of arcade machines, and then a whole bunch of. They've got consoles set up where you can sit down and play all the different games, or whatever like that. And then they have a big stage where they have the tournaments and whatnot, and you can watch them. But then they also have a board game room where you can hand over your license and then kind of rent a board game. You don't have to pay for it. You give them your license so you don't make off with a $60
What kind
board
of game
game.
options do they have in the board game room?
So many.
Like Monopoly?
They've
Or
got-
is it more like
No, they've
Settlers
got
of
some of-
Catan?
Yeah, they've got some of your staples like Monopoly or Risk or something like that. But then, Settlers of Catan and, just about anything that has come out in the last couple of years, you can grab the board game and sit down with some friends and try and figure it out how it works. The best part was when all that stuff used to be over in the Ren Center. like those rooms would just be open 24 hours a day.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because really the like going to YumaCon in the day is fun because you can go in the dealer's room, which is just like Motor City, and you can check out, you can buy stuff from the different dealers. They'll have anime or they'll have, T-shirts or all this fun stuff. But then that closes at like 7. So then everybody migrates over to the Ren Center because that's where a lot of cosplayers get their pictures on that glass walkway with the cool lights and stuff like that. But then, everybody hangs out in the Volt Bar and gets trashed or goes up to their room. Typically that hotel is just like rented out months before.
So that's why people are going to the Ren Center, because the hotel connection?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, people will get their hotel room at the Ren Center, and then they, have parties out of their room and do some drinking and playing some games and whatnot. It's a grand time.
That's cool because obviously the hotel's within walking distance, or you can still take that useless train, in the circle,
can.
and smell like PA when you get off it.
People mover, Al. It moves people from the Ren Center to Kobo. Okay.
Yes. Yep. And Greektown and the now useless Joe.
Yeah, it's always sad going by that Joe Louis thing because it's right before Kobo. That's the thing. It's three stops from the Ren Center to Kobo. It's like 9 stops to get back.
Yeah.
So most people will just walk from Kobo, take the river walk, depending on how cold it is.
Yeah. Well, it's cool that you gave some details on the convention in case people were on the fence,
Absolutely.
See what's there. Because before that, all we really had was Mark Cooper, our guest last week. Which, if you haven't listened to that episode, that is up at WRF.com. Also, Rock 929 Rocks Boston.
Or any of our previous episodes back
in
our archive, because I go every year and then I come back.
It's good to know there's board games. It's more than just Mark Cooper and your Hitler mustache rides.
It's more than Chuck and Mark Cooper.
Are you? Did that enter your brain like 5 minutes ago? You're like, I have to say that out loud because that might be a good episode title.
I don't think Beapod Studios
is not going to be happy about Hitler
that.
Mustache rides.
I'd like to welcome you to the final episode of Nerd Radio. Download it before it gets deleted.
Right.
You don't think Hitler Mustache Ride is going to fly?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think they're going to be real cool with that.
No, probably
Valiant
not.
Summer on the Twitch stream.
No.
Ask Valiant Summer. Ask what are the dates? It is next Thursday through Sunday. So I believe that's Thursday Halloween.
Thursday
Friday
is Devil's
Halloween.
Night.
Yeah.
Friday is Halloween.
Friday, so it's
Saturday's November 1st, right?
Yeah, the 29th through the 2nd.
Oh wait, no, the 2nd.
No, I think you're a day over.
Yeah, I'm off by a day because the 2nd is the Dave and Took the Freaks 0.5K, and that's a Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's Saturday's the 2nd.
Thursday is
Friday's
Halloween.
The 1st. Thursday is Halloween.
Yeah. So Thursday is typically when you can pick up your stuff. Like if you pre-order a badge online or whatever like that. But it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it's if you like being around nerds that are walking around looking like characters in costume, then I always feel like I am among my people.
Yes.
People just walking around everywhere, and then after about 2 hours, I'm like, I hate people. I want to go home. And I have to remind myself that this only happens once a year, so I better enjoy it. Right now, I might hate people, but like Tuesday, I'm going to be like, man, I wish it was back at YumaCon. That was fun.
I hate people so much. Once a year is too often.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. Al, let's talk about the Watchmen TV show that's on HBO, because I know we both watched it.
We did. James, did you watch Watchmen?
I did not. I don't have HBO anymore.
Oh, you don't?
I
Okay.
have, anybody giving me their password to the HBO app.
Oh, well, I'm sure you can find somebody. The first episode of Watchmen was on HBO on Sunday night, and it's a good show.
Yeah.
But somewhat confusing, because they do not say specifically where this, like, it's called Watchmen, so I'm looking for all the characters from like the movie or the comic or something like that, and you see some touchstones like the owl ship or the Rorschach mask or something like that, but they don't give you any indication exactly when this is taking place.
So you're clueless as to like where in the timeline and the realm of Watchmen when these events are happening.
Right. Is this going to be a reinterpretation of the comic? Is this supposed to take place after? Is this supposed to take place before? I had to go online and look it up.
That's what I was going to say. You had an answer to that question because you went and looked into it. I, who look into nothing ever, as we know from this podcast, had no idea when this took place. At all. So when and where, what's going on, Chuck?
This is supposed to take place in the universe of the comic books. The events of the comic books happened, and this takes place 30 years later. So essentially in our real time right now, in that universe, 30 years after the events of the comic had happened. The comic is a little bit different than the movie, but if you've only seen the movie, I feel like you can drop right in and get it kind of thing. But I just wish they would have like right at the top of the show like mentioned that. Instead, they drop you right into a race riot in 1921.
Well, yeah, I mean they could have just put a little bar down at the bottom with some text that just says this is now taking place in the Watchmen universe in the year 2019.
Yeah, even if they would have been like, I mean, they did kind of like 30 years later kind of a thing. But like, just give me that. And like I can try and piece it together from there. Well,
you were also telling me that the showrunner kind of drafted a letter that explains to fans, like, listen, I understand being a Watchmen fan, this might upset Watchmen fans, but like I'm not trying to tell the story that you read in the comic necessarily.
Yeah, which was kind of cool. He drafted like this 5-page letter and stuck it up on Instagram. It's Damien Lindelof, who worked on Lost with J.J. Abrams and stuff like that. And he goes over the fact that like he got asked 3 times to do this, and the first 2 times he's like, no, you don't want to do Watchmen. On TV.
Well, Alan Moore is going to put a hit out on me if I do.
Well, yeah, for that. He does mention that. He's like, Alan Moore apparently knows real magic, so I'm looking out for that.
I think he might. He harnesses it in his beard. Right. He's like Samson.
But he
holds the power in his hair.
He said, in the letter that like, hey, if you're a Watchmen fan and you're angry about us doing this, I get it. But, I feel like it's the kind of thing that like somebody was going to do this, so better me than somebody else. Is quite possibly the mentality. At least get somebody.
We are dealing with someone here who has absolutely no life.
I don't know. It felt right.
Which one of us is you referring to, Al?
I don't know. I was thinking about the people who are complaining.
About Watchmen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was reading too, it's the latest thing to get review bombed online. Which
like nerds are just pumping it up or knocking it down?
No, they're just knocking it down. Okay. Like before they even see an episode, they're like, "This is the stupidest thing ever."
Oh, like the campaign to Rotten Tomatoes, something before it even comes out type of thing. Yeah.
And I think we talked about this the last time. And none of us in this room, like, you don't go online and look at reviews and then decide if you want to see a movie or not that way.
No, I'll ask James what he thought of a movie.
Right.
Because we do have differences, but a lot of times he and I do agree on movies. So I will respect a James review, which may be completely contradictory of a professional critic, but I trust him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If anything, like, okay, this weekend the new Zombieland movie came out. Mm-hmm. Excited to see Zombieland. I love the first one. This one's probably going to be really fun. Whatever. But I'm not in a rush to go out and see it. It's not the new Marvel movie. It's not the new Star Wars. We'll talk about Star Wars. Just give us a little time here. But I want to go see it. But when over the weekend, I'm just looking on my Facebook just to see like the 3 or 4 people that are going to talk about it, and some of them I'm like, well, I don't trust his opinion at all. But then there's other people who's like, oh, if they liked it, I'm probably gonna have a great time.
Like you already know in your heart that you're gonna go see Zombieland 2.
Yeah,
you just don't know when.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You know it's gonna happen regardless of what you hear or see or read. You're seeing Zombieland 2. You don't really care what the critics are saying or what
It's like the criteria I use for not watching trailers. Yeah, I'm gonna see it. Why am I gonna spoil anything?
Well, I'll tell you what, I did mention Star Wars. Obviously, for Star Wars fans, the big news was this Monday. During Monday Night Football, they gave us the trailer for the last Star Wars movie, this trilogy.
Before you move on to Star Wars, what I will say about the Watchmen show, now I'm not a super Alan Moore fan, so I don't really I don't care if you traipse all over his work. I'm not protective.
Long-time Nerd Radio listeners know that you do not like Alan Moore.
I'm not crazy. I like some of the stuff he's written. I like V for Vendetta.
You like his work.
I do like his work. I'm not crazy about him very much, but I also frankly think he's he's good, but I don't think he's like godly by any means.
Isn't he like crazy? I thought he was
he's nuts.
Super crazy, isn't he?
He studies actual magic, so that if it exists, he probably knows.
Oh, like crystals, and he makes like concoctions.
Yeah,
of the testicles of a newt and the blood of a frog.
Dude knows spells.
Some urine and semen of a stranger.
Dude knows spells.
Dude knows spells.
Right there. Normally we don't like to do. We stopped doing this during the show, but that's the name. That's got to be the title. Dude knows spells. That's got to be the episode title.
Well, now my mission is the top dude.
Dude knows spells, right?
Oh my God, we haven't done that. I don't think since James joined the cast.
This is the
gauntlet has been thrown down.
This is the subtle game that we all play that we don't talk about. Is trying to figure out like what phrase would be really funny to put up on the website at WRF, or like when you're scrolling through. For Al, it's always the best because you have a subscription to the podcast. So you see it Friday morning when you wake up in the morning and What was it? A couple of weeks ago, you laughed. You were telling me you were like, "Ha!" You were just so happy that it was one of whatever the titles was.
When I'm having my morning deuce on Friday.
Yeah.
that's usually when I, appropriately enough, find out the title of that week's Nerd Radio episode.
You know what? Really get your bowels moving? A little Nerd Radio action on the podcast.
That's really the best time to experience Nerd Radio.
Yeah.
Nothing makes the feces fly out of your butt crack better than the Nerd Radio podcast.
You laugh, your abs contract a little bit, and it goes right out.
There you go. Nerd Radio. Audible Laxative.
Audible Laxative. There's another title.
That's another really good
one. Look at that. Damn you, Al. How am I going to top Audio Laxative?
No, it's going to be.
You can't do it. There's no topping Audio Laxative.
It's going to be a rough one.
I wrote it down. It's now an official note on the Nerd Radio notes. But no, I was to get back to what we were talking about.
Alan Moore, crazy
Alan Moore. I'm not a big Alan Moore fan. I am prefacing it by saying that I do enjoy his work, but whatever. I will say, even though I didn't recognize any events taking place in that first episode, and this is just the first episode too, I think is worth pointing out.
Right.
Who knows where it's going to go? Some of those answers that you had to look up maybe will become more clear as things unfold.
I'm sure.
But here's the thing. It still felt like Watchmen to me.
Yeah.
Like it still felt very much like it was a part of that story, even though I didn't necessarily recognize it specifically, if that makes any sense.
I'm absolutely one of the people who is really hyped that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are doing the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like you can hear in that soundtrack, it's like, yep, that's them.
Great duo to do music for a movie or a
Yeah,
series.
for sure.
But we're also curious about what people think listening to the podcast. So you can always hit us up, Nerd Radio 101, on all of our social media.
That's usually my job. What are you
I
doing
know.
over
Hey,
there?
look, I know. I'm also great at radio.
Al's got his
Son of a
stuff
bitch.
together.
He's a changed man. He's taking responsibility.
Anyone else want to do their jobs today?
Apparently, you're taking mine. It's funny too because I just saw on Twitter the other day that Checkpoint XP has like these cool knitted Christmas sweaters, something like that. They've got little like 8-bit versions of all that stuff, and I was like, man, we need to get a Nerd Radio T-shirt. And then I started thinking about what would our Nerd Radio? It was great at radio.
Yeah, it's
great at radio. Yeah. And on the back, it would just say great at radio, and then on the back it'd say Nerd Radio.
Yeah.
And that would be our T-shirt. So look forward to that once as we expand
I'll take 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about Star Wars. The Rise of the Skywalker trailer was on Monday during football because when I think Star Wars, I think Monday Night Football.
Right.
I'm sure neither of you have seen it. However, I feel like this trailer was tailor-made for you because you see a lot of stuff with no context whatsoever. Like it's not one of those trailers that makes you go, oh, the movie's going to go here and then it's going to go here and then it's going to go here. You just see like, oh, there's the Millennium Falcon, and oh, there's Kylo Ren, and oh, there's Rey doing cool stuff, and oh, there's the droids, and I don't know how any of this goes together at all.
Still won't watch it.
Yeah, well, I have a hard time talking you into anything. I tell you about comics, you're like, nah, I'm not gonna read it.
Yeah.
I tell you about TV show, I'm not watching it.
Sounds great, won't do it.
Yeah.
I feel like what you're describing here is similar to like if you're in a kitchen with a chef. You see all the ingredients.
Sure.
But you don't know the dish he's making. But
right.
I feel like you can still try to draw conclusions to what's happening.
Oh, I'm sure.
You see all the ingredients. You see chicken, you see carrots, you see celery, you see some chicken broth. You know chicken soup is probably on the menu.
Right.
So you kind of can still get an idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that it's a lot of mystery compared to the most recent Terminator trailer. I don't want to take us into Terminator.
Oh, yeah.
When Sarah Connor drops to I'll be back?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, Sarah Connor? That's the biggest line of the movie. You put it in the trailer. No one's going to see the flick.
Apparently, the early reactions are great, though. Everyone's saying this is the best Terminator movie since Terminator 2.
Show me somebody who said that. I'm going to tell them they're wrong.
People online. I want to know.
I want a picture. I want them face to face.
I want them dead. I want their families dead. I want their house burned to the ground.
And I'm going to piss on the ashes.
Yikes. Yeah, here you go. Here's I got it right here on my laptop. Terry Schwartz on Twitter says Terminator Dark Fate is a blast. Came for the return of Linda Hamilton and reprisal of Schwarzenegger. Was surprised and happy to come out caring most about Natalia Ray's Danny.
I don't buy that.
Gave me a lot of hope.
She's a paid critic. She's a paid critic. She works for Rotten Tomatoes. She was part of the Warner Brothers group or whatever.
@/film on Twitter says Terminator Dark Fate is better than you think it's going to be. It's trying hard to be the Force Awakens of Terminator movies and mostly succeeds.
It's better than you think it's going to be. You can say that about almost any movie that you think is going to be garbage.
That's how
you know what? I thought it was going to be total trash. It was just hot trash.
That's how I describe Nerd Radio to people on the street when I tell them
trash.
No, not as. It's better than you think it's going to be.
I was like, hot trash. Give us some credit, man.
Hot trash.
Give us some credit.
Hot garbage.
No way.
No way.
No way. This is garbage.
All right, well, let's take a short break here. We'll recollect ourselves. I got some anime news for you, which may or may not matter because neither one of you guys are big anime fans.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
However,
Should we get Jefferson on the phone?
I know that we have Nerd Radio listeners that are interested in anime, so I'm interested to get your guys' take. Yeah, that's what you got to look forward to as far as their contributions.
All right, well, I'll be in the bathroom for the anime news.
There you go. Nerd Radio's coming back.